After finally shutting the jaws of Oblivion in the last video, we need a moment to just calm down and relax. We've done so goddamn much for this world of Tamriel. What have we done? We've closed shut the jaws of Oblivion. We did all of that. We became the Archmage. We became the Guild Master of the Fighters Guild. We've also done some other eviler stuff with like the Thieves Guild, becoming the Glory Fox, and becoming the Listener for the Dark Brotherhood. We've done a lot of side quests, and we've explored and cleared out every goddamn location that there is in this world. But there's still some other stuff that we can do before we move on to the Shivering Isles through the Strange Door. I think for now it's going to revolve around just reading a lot of books. Once we do enter the Shivering Isles, there'll be plenty of locations for us to explore within the Shivering Isles, so we won't actually have full videos dedicated to reading books such as this one. We'll go back to what we were originally doing, which was one quest or one video is a quest, the next one is just exploring a random location, maybe reading a book at the end of it. But before we go there, I still want to do a couple more things. So this video, obviously just reading some books, fair enough. The next video, I'm going to go on an ultimate tour, or sorry, not an ultimate tour, an ultimate treasure hunt, fucking scavenger hunt, that's what I'm looking for. So we can find all of the books that are still remaining in the game that we don't currently have, so we can read all those and knock all those off of our list. And then after that, I think I'm gonna end up like doing as much thieving as possible, just like break into everywhere. I don't know, we'll see. I may or may not do that. We'll find out. But today we're reading. Let's do some reading. All right. And we're wearing our cool armor, and then we're probably going to put it in a chest after we finish this episode. But what book do we want to read? Let's read about Mannimarco, the King of Worms. Mannimarco, King of Worms, by Horklis. O sacred isle Artaeum, where rosy light infuses air, o'er towers and through flowers gentle breezes flow. A little poetry here. Softly sloping green-kissed cliffs to crashing foam below, always springtide afternoon housed within its border. This mystic, mist-protected home of the Sigic Order, those counselors of kings, cautious, wise, and fair. 10 years and 30 since the mighty Remans fell, 2 brilliant students studied within the Sigic's fold. One's heart was light and warm, the other dark and cold. The madder ladder Mannimarco whirled in a deathly dance, his soul in bones and worms, the way of the necromance. Entrapping and enslaving souls, he cast a wicked spell. The former Galerian had magic bold and bright as day. He confronted Mannimarco beneath grey Sephira Tower, saying, "Your wicked mysticism is no way to wield your power. Bringing horror to the spirit world, your studies must cease." Mannimarco scoffed, hating well the ways of life and peace. In return to his dark artistry, his paints, death, and decay. O sacred isle Artaeum, how slow to perceive the threat, when the ghastly truth revealed, how weak the punishment. The ghoulish Mannimarco from the Isle of the Wise was sent to the mainland dawn's beauty, more death than souls to reap. You have found a wolf, and sent the beast to flocks of sheep. Galerian told his masters, a terror on Tamriel has set. Speak no more of him, the sage cloaks of grey did say. 'Twas not the first time Galerian thought his masters callous, unconcerned for men and myrrh, aloof in their island palace. 'Twas not the first time Galerian thought 'twas time to build a new order to bring true mages to all, a mighty mages guild. But 'twas the time he left at last fair Artaeum's azure bay. Oh, but sung we have of Venus Galerian many times before, how cast he off the Sigic's chains, bringing magic to the land. Throughout the years he saw the touch of Mannimarco's hand. Through Tamriel's Deserts, forests, towns, mountains, and seas, the dark grip stretching out, growing like some dread disease, by his dark necromancers collecting cursed artifacts of yore. They brought to him these tools, mad wizards and witches, and brought blood-tainted herbs and oils to his cave of sin, sweet akaviri poison, dust from saints, sheafs of human skin, toadstools, roots, and much cluttered his alchemical shelf. Like a spider in his web, he sucked all their power into himself. Mannimarco, Worm King, world's first of the undying liches. Corruption on corruption, till the rot sunk to his very core. Though he kept the name Mannimarco, his body and his wind were but a living, moving corpse as he left humanity behind. Oh, and his mind. Fuck, I've misread it. God damn it, I was like, wind, mind. That doesn't sound right. We're going back. Though he kept the name Mannimarco, his body and his mind were but a living, moving corpse as he left humanity behind. The blood in his veins became instead a poison acid stew. His power and his life increased as his fell collection grew. Foul? Fell? Alright. Mightiest were these artifacts, long cursed since days of yore. They say Galerion left the guild, calling it a morass. But untruth is a powerful stream, polluting the river of time. Galerion beheld Mannimarco's rise through power sublime. To his mages and lamp knights, before my last breath, face I must the tyranny of worms, and kill at last undeath. He led them north to cursed lands to a mountain pass. Oh, those who survived the battle say its like was never seen. Armored with magicka, armed with encircled sword and axe. Galerion cried, echoing, "Worm King, surrender your artifacts in their power to me." And I never know how to read poems like this. They're always like, you want to emphasize the rhyme, but then you do that and the sentence itself just falls apart. Surrender your artifacts and their power to me, and you shall live as befits the dead. A hollow laugh answered, "You die first," Mannimarco said. What a lazy rhyme, Mannimarco said, really. You gotta rhyme what he said. The mage army then clashed with the unholy force obscene. Imagine waves of fire and frost, and the mountain shivers. Picture lightning arching forth, crackling in a dragon's sigh. Like leaves the battle mages fly to rain down from the sky. Ooh, hit him with that mid-bar rhyme. At the necromancer's call, corpses burst from earth to flight, to be shattered into nothingness with a flood of holy light. A maelstrom of energy unleashed, blood cascades in rivers. Ooh, that was beautiful. Like a thunder burst in blue skies, or a lion's sudden roar, like sharp razors tearing over delicate embroidered lace, so at a touch did Galerion shake the mountain to its base. The deathly horde fell fatally, but heeding their dying cries, from the depths the thing they called Worm King did rise. Nirn itself did scream in the mages in necromancer's war. His eyes burning dark fire, he opened his toothless maw, vomiting darkness with each exhalation of his breath. All sucking in the fetid ear felt the icy touch of death. In the skies above the mountain, darkness overcame pale. Then Mannimarco, king, felt his dismal powers fail. The artifacts of death pulled from his putrid skeletal claw. 1,000 good and evil perished then, history confirms. Among, alas, Venus Galerion, he who showed the way. It seemed once that Mannimarco had truly died that day. Scattered seemed the necromancers, wicked, ghastly fools. Back to the Mages Guild, victors kept the accursed tools. I like that they just say that it seemed that he died, because he comes back in this game, obviously. And actually, he comes back I think he's also in Morrowind as well. I think he's the big bad guy in Morrowind. I don't know. I've never actually played it, so couldn't really tell you. Of him living still in undeath, Mannimarco, king of worms. Children, listen as the shadows cross your sleeping hutch. And the village sleeps away, streets emptied of the crowds, and the moons do balefully glare through the nightly clouds. In the graveyards people rest, we hope, in eternal sleep. Listen and you'll hear the whispered tap of the footsteps creep. Then pray you'll never feel the Worm King's awful touch. Let's read another kind of funky book here with Nagasta. I've been talking about this one. This one's written in like the dragon language, I think it is, or maybe the alien language. I'm not entirely sure. But Nagasta, Kvata, Kvakis. Nagasta, Kvaka, Kvakis, an obscure text in the language of the Sloid, purportedly written by the Second Era Western necromancer. Another necromancer book. Nagasta. Sip of water here. Nagasta, Kvata, Kvakis. Nagasta, Kvata, Kvakis. Agstas so navashkaktero. Oix Jamail, so rain tar, rice vast, gaznin, pagetage, membra, kaj, allige, individua, kijin, imaneri, tussax, so renetta, activado, en z apras informa, una vis priso l'acqua, so is mojdetakaj convince na said nature in qua pre-alage, just throwing all the accents. I don't even know what fucking accent this is meant to be. Actazosh activica so societo. I took Spanish in high school. Okay, it's been a while, alright? I don't know what the fuck I'm even looking at right now. This is like Latin or something? I don't know. Nemelafot enextas crome plej diversa pecta materialo educa ois distra. Oh fuck, why is this so long? Ooh. So interreta cavaco retellera kaj verhoch extas un sank alternative canaso por distribua so in havon so papera kvak sed alif sank so in hofla so it's like French, I don't know. So diversach verjoa intox vible ne povos kajek nevus exem axti centropacente the placenta, I don't know. So sama in malvast circunstanta paparfolio is exemple ipsos publici illustris joie kaj pro caprajaj kai so ne axtas uzebso in sun terreto alif sonk so mazolsha castor reta distribuo foriga so passage limigua kaj per maxim pli amplicasan in havon por ne poroli pri gesora actuleco tiu circonstance vraspec le jour en su aspecto so cavaco qui ja sateri servos anxua jail, no, it's a jail now. Zveraso reto so venetois. Yeah, if you want an explanation of what the fuck the book is actually talking about, you're gonna have to get that translated online. I have no idea what the fuck I just read, and I mispronounced every word in that book. Maybe Nagasta. I got Nagasta. I got confidence in Nagasta. Nagasta, Kvata, Kvakis. I think I got that down. The rest of it, I have no idea what the fuck I just said. Anyway, on Morrowind. Actually, how long is this Origin of the Mages Guild? Let's read this one, since we just read the Galarian thing. Origin of the Mages Guild by the Archmaid Salarath. The idea of a collection... God, this feels so much better. The idea of a collection of mages, sorcerers, and assorted mystics pooling their resources and talents for the purpose of research and public charity was a revolutionary concept in the early years of the Second Era. The only organization then closest in aim and structure to what we know today as the Mages Guild was the Psijic Order of the Isle of Artaeum. At the time, magic was something to be learned by individuals, or at most within intimate covens. Mages were, if not actually hermits, usually quite solitary. The Psijic Order served the rulers of Somerset Isle as counselors, and chose its members through a complex, ritualized method not understood by outsiders. Its purposes and goals likewise went unpublished, and detractors attributed the worst evils as the source of the Order's power. Actually, the religion of the Old Order could be described as ancestor worship, an increasingly unfashionable philosophy in the Second Era. When Venus Galerian, a Psijic of Artaeum and student of the famed Lachesis, began collecting magic users from the round Somerset Isle, he attracted the animosity of all. He was operating out of the urban center of Firsthold, and there was a common, and not entirely unfounded, attitude that magical experiments should be conducted only in unpopulated areas. Even more shocking, Galerian proposed to make magical items, potions, and even spells available to any member of the general public who could afford to pay. No longer was magic to be limited either to the aristocracy or intelligentsia. Galerian was brought before Lachesis and the king of Firsthold, Rylus the 12th, and made to state the intentions of the fraternity he was forming. The fact that Galerian's speech to Rylus and Lachesis, was not recorded for posterity is doubtless a tragedy, though it does afford opportunity for historians to amuse one another with speculation about the lies and persuasions Galerian might have used to found the Aquitius organization. The charter, at any rate, was approved. Maybe he used some magical spells to woo over these people. Almost immediately after the guild was formed, the question of security had to be addressed. The Isle of Artaeum did not require force of arms to shield it from invaders. When the Psijic Order does not wish someone to land on the Isle, it and all its inhabitants simply become insubstantial. The new Mages Guild, by contrast, had to hire guards, Galerians who discovered what the Tamrielian nobility has known for thousands of years. Money alone does not buy loyalty. The Knightly Order of the Lamp was formed the following year. Like a tree from an acorn, the Mages Guild grew branches all over Somerset Isle and gradually the mainland of Tamriel. There are numerous records of superstitious or sensibly fearful rulers forbidding the guilds in their domains, but their ears eventually recognized the wisdom of allowing the guild free rein. The Mages Guild has become a powerful force in Tamriel, a dangerous woe if a somewhat disinterested ally. There have been only a few rare incidences of the Mages Guild actually becoming involved in local political struggles. On these occasions, the guild's participation has been the ultimate decider in the conflict. As begun by Venus Galerian, the Mages Guild as an institution is presided over by a supreme councillor of 6 archmagisters. Each guild hall is run by a guild magister, assisted by a twofold council, the Master of Inconubla and the Master at Arms. The Master of Inconubla presides over an additional council of 2 mages, the Master of Academia and the Master of the Scry. The Master of the Scry. The Master switched around the C and the R there. The Master at Arms also has a council of 2, the Master of Initiates and the Palatinus, the leader of the local chapter of the Order of the Lamp. One need not be a member of the Mages Guild to know that this carefully contrived hierarchy is often nothing more than a chimera. As Venus Galerian himself said bitterly, leaving Tamriel to travel to other lands, the guild has become nothing more than an intricate morass of political infighting. Interesting that he would say such a thing. How long was this first one? I feel like that wasn't too bad. Well, let's read one more on Morrowind. Get all the shorter books out of here, huh? Sorry, everything that we have to read in the future is fucking 30 pages long. Genius! Yeah, we'll get a bunch of books in the next video, so we'll have plenty. On Morrowind, the Imperial Province, by Uramonwa of Sunhold. After the conquest of Hammerfell, Imperial legions massed along the northeastern borders of Cyrodiil, and invasion fleets prepared in Skyrim. Initially, though the Imperial legions and navy were widely considered undefeatable, House Indoril and the Temple hierarchy proposed to resist to the death. Redoran and Dress stood by Indoril, with Telvanni remaining neutral. Hlaalu proposed accommodation. Contrived border incidents in Black Marsh ended inconclusively, but the swampy terrain did not favor Legion and Navy coordination. Against the legions massed west of Silgrad Tower and Kragan Moor, and the legions west of Blacklight and Cormaris View, Morrowind had pitifully small militias, stifled by small companies of Redoran mercenaries and elite units of House Nobles and Temple Ordinators in armigers. Further complicating matters was the refusal of Indoril, Dress, Hlaalu, and Telvanni to garrison the western borders. Indoril and Dress proposed, rather than defend the western border, instead to withdraw to the interior and fight a guerrilla war. With Hlaalu advocating accommodation and Telvanni remaining neutral, Redoran therefore faced the prospect of standing alone against the Empire. The situation changed radically when Vivec appeared in person in Vivec City to announce his negotiation of a treaty with Emperor Tiber Septim, reorganizing Morrowind as a province of the Empire, but guaranteeing all rights of faith and self-government. A shocked temple hierarchy, which apparently had not been consulted, greeted the announcement with awkward silence. Indoril swore they would resist to the death, with the loyal support of Dress, while Redoran, grateful for a graceful excuse to avoid facing the legions unsupported, joined with Hlaalu in welcoming the agreement. Telvanni, seeing which way the wind blew, joined the Hlaalu and Redoran in supporting the treaty. Nothing is known of the circumstances of the personal meeting between Septim and Vivec, or where it took place, or the preliminaries which must have preceded the treaty. The public reason was to protect the identities of the agents involved. In the West, speculation has centered around the role of Zurin Arctis in brokering the agreement. In the East, rumors suggest that Vivec offered Numidium to aid in the conquest of the Altmer and Somerset Isle in return for significant concessions to preserve self-rule, house traditions, and religious practices in Morrowind. The Lord High Counselor of the Grand Council in Indoril refused to accept the treaty and refused to step down. He was assassinated and replaced by a Hlaalu. How convenient. House Hlaalu took the opportunity to settle some old scores with House Indoril, and a number of local councils changed hands in bloody coups. More blood was shed in these inter-house struggles than against the Imperial legions during Morrowind's transition from an independent nation to a province of the Empire. I want to say all of this conflict is in Morrowind, the game itself. This book is probably in Morrowind, the game, as a background on why all these people hate each other, kind of thing. The generals of the legions had dreaded an invasion of Morrowind. The Dunmer were widely regarded as the most dreadful and fanatic foes, further inspired by their temple and clan traditions. The generals had not grasped the political weaknesses of Morrowind, which Emperor Tiber Septim recognized and exploited. At the same time, given the tragic depopulation and destruction experienced by the other provinces conquered by Septim, and the swift and efficient assimilation of Morrowind into the Imperial Legion systems and economy, with a relatively small impact on lower or upper classes of Morrowind citizens, the Tribunal also deserves some credit for recognizing the hopelessness of Morrowind's defense and the chance of gaining important concessions at the treaty table by being the first to offer peace. That was the longest sentence I've ever read in my life. That sentence started here and ended. That was a full page for one sentence. By contrast, many Indoril nobles chose to commit suicide rather than submit to the Empire, my lord, with the result that the house was significantly weakened during the period of transition, guaranteeing that they would lose much of their influence and power to House Hlaalu, whose influence and power was waxing with its enthusiastic accommodation with the Empire. The temple hierarchy more skillfully managed their loss of face, remaining aloof from political struggles and earning the goodwill of the people by concentrating on their economic, educational, and spiritual welfare. read some interesting books today. That one, that on a Morrowind book, I feel like would be a lot more fascinating if we were playing Morrowind right now. But hey, tis what it is, tis what it is. Alright, so what was the first one? Mannimarco. Check these all off real quick. Alright, let's put these away. And then in the next video, I don't know if I'm gonna do it all in one video or maybe a couple different videos, like gathering all these books, but we shall get all the books at some point. There should not be a single page unturned. But yeah, alright. Well, with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you join us in the next video and in videos to come, and then obviously, you know, it's gonna be a little slow for a little bit as we just kind of wrap stuff up here in Cyrodiil, but pretty soon we shall head to the Shivering Isles where stuff will be much more exciting. But until the next video, not until then, until the next video, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and goodbye.
Cause I don't wanna see the glow without you. Refuse to even leave my home without you. Or my brain's gonna explode without you. I don't even know how to cope without you. Cause I don't wanna see the glow without you. Refuse to even leave my home without you. Or my brain's gonna explode without you. I don't even know how to cope without you.